Okay, so could you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Okay, cool. My name's Lorna Bogue. I'm fourth year Irish Music and Dance, and I'm going for SU President.
Why are you interested in the role of president?
I think I've always been interested in becoming a part of the Students' Union. Like, I've always been active since first year, and like I joined debating in first year. I've been part of CNS since. In third year, I was editor of An Focal, and I think that's where a lot of my interest for being SU president came from, because I was going to the university, I was following stories, I was looking for people to actually talk to me about things, and a lot of the time I was met with shut doors and things like, you know, people telling me that I'll only address the president of the Students' Union. So then I was like, well, you know, if the Students' Union president is such an important role that you need someone who can actually communicate with the university. So it was at that point that I was like, I would actually be interested in taking on this job.
What do you think sets you apart from the other candidates?
Well, I suppose there's an obvious answer to this one, but I think what sets me apart from the other candidates is my experience within the Students' Union, because I'm currently sitting on exec for both Students' Union and clubs and societies, and I suppose from working on Focal as well, like I do have a lot of experience of advocating for students, but I also have a good understanding of what the structure of the Students' Union is.
What's your biggest priority for the year in terms of your manifesto?
I think my biggest priority for the year is making a statement and standing in solidarity with the students of the University of Limerick, because I think in a lot of manifestos that I've seen in the 4 years that I've been in college, I think a lot of the promises that are made are kind of vague and wishy-washy, and there isn't something to actually back it up. So in my manifesto, what I wanted to do was make promises that I could actually keep, and then like put myself in a strong negotiating position for the things that I want to campaign for. So there's two parts of my manifesto. Like there is the donation of my wages back to the Students' Union to provide things such as a hardship fund, which is actually a fund as opposed to a loan, because other students' unions, when you go and approach the Students' Union looking for financial aid, you're given it as like a bursary, like it's not a loan, whereas here it's an interest-free loan, which I know does send a lot of students away. Like, it's a good service, but I think that more can be provided, and I think as SU president I'm actually giving a concrete provision of that I am giving around 5,000 or 6,000 to a fund that is to give like once-off payments of like 150, whatever small amount that people need to get through college for that time, and for the time that they actually need that help. So I think that's kind of what I'm doing.
What are some of your other ideas should you be elected?
Something that I really would like to look at is I'd like to look at the co-op office, and I'd like to look at providing an alternative to the co-op programme, because I think a lot of people find that when they go on co-op they end up sitting in an office and they end up making tea for people, and they're not doing something that they find particularly valuable to them. And I think that time could be better spent on an alternative that the university could be providing to a much greater extent, because there is an alternative programme, but I don't feel that it's broad enough. And I think that like students could be using that semester to improve their FYPs, to be taking modules that, you know, will really assist them in writing their final year projects. And I think that's an alternative that should be made available to students who don't necessarily want to go and sit in an office making tea or doing something that has nothing to do with their course or what they want to do later in life. But another thing I'd like to look at is the way that exams are structured in UL as well, because I've been looking at other universities and I feel that the University of Limerick system is particularly punitive to students who fail exams. So here, if you fail, you can only fail 2 exams per semester. If you fail more than that, you have to repeat the year, or take a LinkedIn module or repeat the module. I think that that's unnecessarily punitive, because life happens. Like, exam period is, you know, kind of either 2 weeks during the year or else it's continuous assessment. So anything can happen to you in between those 2 times. And I think that if you fail exams because, you know, life happens or something like that, like, I think that you should be allowed to repeat more than 2 exams, because it's possible to fail 3 exams, and that could be just because you're particularly stressed out, or because, you know, something has happened to you, or because you're having issues, and I think that that's something that needs to be reviewed, because in UCC you can repeat any amount of exams, and also I think the cost of repeating exams in UL is particularly high, because in UCC it's €50 to repeat an exam, whereas here it's 171 per exam, which I think doesn't really make a lot of sense, because presumably the cost to UCC is the same as the cost to UL, so I don't see where that additional price is coming from.
What do you feel would be your biggest challenge for the year?
I suppose the biggest challenge every year is students actually engaging with the Students' Union. Like, that seems to be the main problem that our sabbatical officers seem to face every year. That, they have lots of great ideas and they want to implement them, but the way to implement things is by having people actually there. And I'm not particularly sure how to solve for that. I suppose by taking the lead and by making an example of myself and by showing that I'm willing to sort of go right down to the bone to actually work for students, I think that could be something that will encourage people to take part in the Students' Union. But also if the Students' Union is more... every year people say, the Students' Union should be more approachable, we should communicate better, but I'm not even sure if it's that, because I think the Students' Union has done a good job this year of communicating. So I suppose student engagement, and I think that by showing a good example, by being a strong leader and someone who, is accepting a lower wage and giving it back to students, by showing that I am actually there for students and I'm not there for a comfortable job or anything like that, I think that's how I'll get more students to engage.
What aspect of this position excites you the most?
I think making a difference and doing something that actually creates change for students in UL. Like, going back to the manifestos I've seen over the years and going back over that, and like a lot of feedback on campaign has been that, your manifesto is different, you're promising something different and concrete, and this is an actual change that you're giving us. And I think that's something that's very exciting. I think I would like to make a radical difference to the way that the university and the Students' Union engage with each other, and I think that by being that leader, that person who's willing to, who's willing to take the hit myself in order to improve life for students as a whole, I think that's an exciting position to be in, because again, when I'm negotiating with the university, I'm not just going in there as, a Students' Union president, I'm going there as a president who is paying for vital services to ensure that students are actually allowed to stay in college. So I think I will like being in a strong negotiating position next year, and I would hope to get some changes through.
What do you feel are the most pressing issues facing students here in UL?
Well, a lot of my manifesto is built on financial pressures and the economic crisis, because if you look at students who are graduating, there's probably 63% employment rate from UL, which is pretty good, but that leaves 37% of students who are leaving the university. They've graduated and they're going into an environment where there's no work for them, or they're being asked to take unacceptable wages to do the jobs that they do. And I think that's the biggest thing that's facing students, that once you graduate from here, that you're facing a situation where you're either on an unemployment benefit, which if you're under 24 is €100 a week, or you're on job bridge, which is 150 a week and you're working 40 hours a week, or if you're a student nurse, you're on $6.98 an hour, which is under minimum wage, or if you're a junior doctor, you're working 100 hours a week. So, or indeed if you're a teacher and you're going into a school, you're walking into a staff room where the people who are there before you are getting paid more than you are, or indeed you may even be employed by job bridge, so again €150 a week. So I would like to campaign on those issues for students, because a Students' Union president should protect students not only when they're here but also when they walk out the door and they go out into the world. So I would like to, I think that is the issue that's facing students, that we're all in an economic climate where it's difficult for us to find work that's paid in an acceptable way.
Is there anything else you'd like to say?
vote for me. No, not really. I've enjoyed my time canvassing. Like if people want to come and find me and tell me more about their experience or give me ideas for what can help them. Again, I'm only one person. Like I need as many people as possible to tell me what I should be doing if I am elected as SU president, or what things I should be pushing for during the campaign trail. But yeah, no, come find me, come talk to me. Like I would like to use this week to talk to as many people as possible and find out what the students of UL are thinking.
Thanks very much.
Cool. Cheers.